The Chinese have announced that they're going to go to the moon. In fact, they will probably beat the United States. NASA last year admitted that their time frame is behind the Chinese time frame. The Chinese declared their intention to travel to the moon. They will most likely defeat the USA in reality. NASA acknowledged last year that it was trailing China in terms of latency. Did you know that the remarkable finding of the moon by China was revealed by renowned physicist Michio Kaku? You did really hear correctly. In this video, Michio Kaku unveils the amazing lunar finding made by China and takes you on a never-before-seen space adventure. What would be the surprising finding of this month? How will it alter the way we think about the universe? After people of color land on the moon, a station will be constructed around it. Join us as we explore the cosmos in search of the answers to these pressing issues and the fascinating secrets that lie at the moon's core. A wonderful journey is ahead of you. Strange spring water source on the moon. The moon, our nearest space neighbor, has long been a mystery. But recent unexpected findings by Chinese scientists have started to address some of the most important ones. China sent a robotic spacecraft onto the large dark region of the moon that is visible from Earth just 2 years ago. Ocean of Storms, or Oceanus Procellarum, is the name given to this area. The spacecraft, designated Chang'e 5, touched down close to Mount Runker, a sizable peak on the moon. What gives you the most satisfaction? A spaceship returned to Earth with samples it had taken from the moon for the first time in almost 50 years. This was last experienced during the Soviet invasion in 1976. Many scientists think that when the moon originated around 4 billion years ago, the heat caused all of the water to evaporate, but that proved not to be the case. On the moon, there is actually a lot of water that has frozen into ice. Usually, this ice may be found near the moon's poles, which are always dark. NASA intends to deploy astronauts here because future missions will benefit from having access to these waters. Let's investigate this remarkable phenomenon. Chang'e 5 sees more than just water. Almost 60 ounces of rock and soil samples from the moon were brought back, and they were abundant in uncommon minerals such as helium-3 and shinite. However, things don't stop there. Before landing back on Earth, Chang'e 5 utilized onboard devices to conduct measurements, which suggested that water could exist on the moon's surface. Then one must ask, where is the source of this water? There may be invisible water on the moon, according to some scientists, while others think it may have been carried there by a star. According to reports from Chinese and European probes, the answer to this important topic may be discovered in lunar samples taken from the moon's northwest by China's Chang'e 5 mission. This type has tiny glass beads in a variety of colors that resemble tiny pearls. How then did they arrive there? Maybe the heat from meteorites striking the moon formed them. What gives you the most satisfaction? There are water lines on these little cups. Indeed, you are correct, water exists on the moon. It has been demonstrated by scientists from the Chinese Academy of Sciences that for every ton of lunar soil, there are around 2,000 kilograms of water in the crystals. The interesting thing is that because the moon has been struck by meteorites throughout its existence, these glass beads may be found all across the moon, from the equator to the poles. Although the majority of the water on the moon is thought to consist of hydroxyl groups, there are still molecules of water present. It is estimated that the glass beads may contain as much as 270 billion tons of water trapped within. NASA calculated that the moon's Arctic crater held about 600 million tons of ice in 2010, but this latest finding indicates that the crater has a bigger lake. The finest aspect, we could never have predicted the entirely new depth of existence that this water may offer. The lunar samples that Chang'e 5 brought back are not as large as those that the US Apollo program or Soviet robotic missions brought back. According to recent studies, the meteorite catastrophe that occurred 2 billion years ago, which is comparable to the events that took out the dinosaurs 68 million years ago, is when the glass holding these pearls was produced. How can water enter moon crystals, one may wonder. As it happens, our sun may be to blame for this. The favorable impact of hydrogen atoms from the solar wind is thought to infiltrate the glass beads and mix with oxygen, according to scientists. The beads emit some hydrogen when heated by the sun, and this hydrogen is crucial to the moon's water cycle. Thus, these glass beads are more than simply water, they also regulate the moon's orbit. The challenge of identifying a place is about to alter with this revelation. This led scientists to explore the possibility that in long-term missions distant from Earth, water on the moon may support human life. The results were thoroughly evaluated by a study team from the Chinese Academy of Sciences Institute of Geology and Geophysics. Are they able to locate it in the Chang'e 5 text? There are indications of open water. Scientists use spectral reflectance, a measurement of a material's ability to reflect sunlight, to detect H2O molecules. The effects are extensive. According to Matt Sigler, a senior scientist at the Planetary Science Institute in Tucson, Arizona, there could be more water on the moon than previously believed. Compared to the far-off space the Apollo astronauts reported upon their return in 1969, this is a far cry. The notion that the moon was a parched wasteland started to disintegrate. Chandrayaan-1, one of the Indian Space Research Organization's missions, discovered evidence of hydration on the sun's surface. However, it's unclear if, Would you like me to continue or summarize any part of it? This is water or hydroxy, a chemical that resembles gutter cleaner. Subsequent studies, according to NASA postdoctoral researcher Kathy Honor, revealed the presence of ice and shadow craters close to the moon's poles. Water molecules trapped in glass beads and minerals created considerable skepticism and brain-scratching when scientists re-examined the original Apollo findings. Is this water in Houston indeed from the moon or the Earth? What took place? NASA is preparing an announcement for 1 month before China's lunar lander Chang'e 5 finds water in the solar system. They asserted that the moon of the sun contained water. They were all perched at a height of 45,000 feet. You did really hear correctly. NASA employs the Stratospheric Infrared Observatory to collect water molecule signals at certain wavelengths. These results raised the hopeful possibility that there may be more water than previously believed on the lunar surface and that it may be longer than the ice at the poles. While all earlier research indicated the presence of water, China's latest lunar landing was the true game-changer. Geologist Matt Sigler notes that in order to calculate the amount of water present, the resultant spectral reflection data needs to be properly corrected for temperature. Determining the object's temperature at extended distances is a hurdle, though this is what distinguishes Chang'e 5's mission as unique. By touching the sun, it can measure temperature precisely and remove ambiguity. However, don't expect to see lakes or bubbling streams on the moon just yet. Ironically, Chang'e 5 discovered a little pool of water in an area known as Oceanus Procellarum that was concealed in the lunar surface. Scientists speculate that this water could have originated from the sun's solar wind, which is a stream of radioactive particles. When the oxygen in the rocks and soil of the moon is struck by the solar wind, which is heavy in hydrogen atoms, water is created. Remarkably, additional water is visible in the same region of lunar rocks, suggesting the existence of another unidentified water source. Uncommon moon crystal. However, the tale is not over yet. Another astounding finding by scientists, a unique solar system that could be able to power the entire planet. Rivaling the National Aeronautics and Space Administration of the United States, the China National Space Administration has garnered media attention for its achievements in space exploration. A station was constructed, several missions were launched, and China produced significant discoveries, the most recent of which startled the scientific community. What is Michio Kaku's moon idea then? 2020 saw the discovery of crystals in lunar basalt grains that were composed of a substance that science had never before discovered and that had essential elements for the nuclear fusion that drives our galaxy's sun and stars. The China National Space Administration and the China Atomic Energy Agency declared after the leak that China's Chang'e 5 robotic mission had found feldspar, a new lunar mineral. When analyzing samples from the lunar surface, researchers from the Beijing Institute of Uranium Geology made the discovery. China is now one of the few nations to have found fresh minerals on the moon, along with the US and the former USSR. This is because more than 1.7 kilograms of lunar samples were successfully returned to Earth by the first lunar sample return mission since 1970. The Beijing Institute of Uranium Geology named the new moon mineral after the moon goddess Chang'e from Chinese mythology. Chang'e is the name given to it. Let's now discuss the Chang'e 5 mission robot, which is responsible for this remarkable finding. 46 years after its previous lunar material collection, it departed from Hainan province and returned to Earth carrying 1,731 g of lunar rocks and dirt. This mission, one of China's most difficult to date, is an exhilarating 23-day trip. Following their successful retrieval, the lunar samples were split up into 21 groups and distributed to researchers in 13 different labs for use in 31 different research projects. With this accomplishment, China gained recognition in space exploration history, joining the United States and the former Soviet Union as the third nation to find lunar data. Numerous ministries have contributed to the research of lunar structures, including the Ministry of Natural Resources, the Ministry of Education, and the Chinese Academy of Sciences. Even though the small pebbles discovered on the moon are just slightly larger than a human hair, they provide scientists with opportunities they never would have thought possible. One remarkable element found in crystals created during the moon's volcanism around 1.22 billion years ago is helium-3. Michio Kaku was obliged to break the news to the public since it was such a huge surprise. Star rock and debris structure will return to Earth in the following several hours. Chinese ground troops await the landing of an unmanned mission. You might wonder what makes helium-3 so unique. The China 5 lunar research mission returned over 140,000 lunar particles, and among them, scientists discovered remnants of helium-3, an uncommon and possibly volatile material. Despite being uncommon on Earth, this peculiar form of helium is thought to be abundant on the moon because it was directly deposited there thousands of years ago by the solar wind. What relevance does this discovery have? Helium-3 nuclear fusion is thought to be a fuel source that has the potential to completely transform how clean, efficient energy is produced and used on Earth. Helium-3 has long been regarded by scientists as a potential nuclear fuel. Just like a star acquires energy, nuclear fusion happens when two light atoms join at high temperatures to generate a heavier atom. Here's a brief Physics 101 refresher. However, we haven't been able to replicate the strong response that generates more energy than the planet needs thus far. What therefore makes helium-3 such a fitting companion for this marvel? Helium-3 is distinct from other products since it uses less energy and generates less waste, making it a clean and safe energy source. Nuclear fission is being used in our nuclear power plants to generate both energy and power. This complicates the handling of waste containing uranium, plutonium, and other elements. In the long run, we will have a safer, more effective, and cleaner method of producing nuclear energy if we can convert fission into fusion using helium-3 energy. Although competition for lunar resources has increased with the discovery of helium-3, we still need a dependable generator to fully use its potential. China and the United States are among the several nations and commercial businesses that have expressed interest in mining helium-3 on the moon. China's discovery of fresh helium-3 reserves on the moon will intensify competition for lunar resources, bringing us closer to a future in which lunar material resources are real, not just science fiction. Not only do we see our heavenly neighbors when we gaze at the moon, but we also witness the pure energy light of our future. This element has the ability to provide nuclear fusion reactors with energy that we do not yet understand on Earth. According to scientists, but wait till you learn about the Chang'e 6 mission, which is scheduled for 2024 and aims to gather the first samples of the moon's dark side. Let me know if you'd like further assistance.